What's up, guys? Unplanned live stream. I noticed that the ROTC guys are not currently on, and I figured I'll do an unplanned live stream. I have a video premiering on my channel at 6 o'clock, so I figured why not get on the internet for a while before this video premieres, work on my current piece, and then 6 o'clock we'll get out of here, and you guys are more than invited to come and watch the premiere of the new video. I would love for you guys to. It is a fan art piece based on the Revenge of the Cis guys, the podcast Revenge of the Cis. Alright, I don't know that this is actually attaching to my channel right now. Yesterday I was trying to do a live stream. I was running into some trouble with the live stream, and it wasn't seeming to want to be loaded as live, but it very much was live. So I'm hoping that today it'll come up and let me know that, or let other people know that I'm live, So this is what I'm working on. We've been working on it for a couple days now. Well, that's pretty funny. Go ahead and pull this off. I went through yesterday and laid in a lot of the marker in the background here, trying to give me a good base to work from. And once I have that base set up, then we can work from there. What I want to start doing is taking this ultramarine pencil and continuing this little bit of coloration you see right here. I've been laying down a little color, testing out some things, and I want to get this laid in very well so that it let's see, what do we have here? Unlisted. It says I'm unlisted. I don't know why. Well, I don't know if anybody can see this or what's going on, but I'm not sure really what I have here. Let's see. Cameron Hance. Let's see. Anyone? Let's go live. Let's also maybe take this settings here. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's go right here, stream info. Okay, so we're live, and I'm wondering if anybody's going to join me today. Alright, so, like I said, I'm going to work on this for a little while. I'd like to get some of the colors put in the background here and work on that until this premiere at 6 o'clock. You are more than welcome to stay and enjoy. I hope everybody does stay and enjoy. Oh, I'm moving around my camera a lot, guys. I'm sorry about that. And get into this a little bit. I know I don't have anybody in the video right now, but I'll try to make some work happen one way or the other. Alrighty. I'm going to go ahead and welcome you all. Alright. For some reason my stream is in 720, which is fine, I guess, for right now, but I'm going to need to work on all of that sort of thing to get a better stream going on. Like I said, I want to start working on this background and getting this ultramarine on here. As you can tell, there's a little bit of discoloration right here where you can see I've already been kind of laying down this ultramarine on top. And what I'm trying to do here, and you can't really see it from this angle from where we're located right now, but let's see. You can see how that's starting to even this blue out in the background, which I think was the ultimate goal I was trying to get at, was trying to make it as smooth transition as possible so it just doesn't look like straight marker streaks. I'm not going in here with any sort of outrageous pressure or anything like that. Prismacolor color pencils are renowned for just falling apart. So I'm hoping I won't run into that problem. Once you start pushing down some weight onto the paper, it starts to flatten out the tooth and doesn't allow you to continue to add layers on top of it. So I'm trying to be very light here. And I'm going to go ahead and take a second. I'm going to throw this sign down here. And I want to get on my social media real quick, and I'm just going to chat with you as I do this and just try to get some people over here to the stream. So, I'm going to go to Twitter first. Get a tweet here. And live right now. Live right now on YouTube. New video premiering tonight at 6 p.m. Come hang out with me until then. Alright, caricature, drawing. Alright. So, I'm inviting people out. Alright, so I'm live on YouTube right now. If the boys aren't live, then I will be. New video premiering tonight at 6. Come and hang out with me until then. So I'm going to send that out. And, maybe I will open up. I'm going to open up my Facebook too here. My pages. Let me get this stream's information. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to link it through my social media here and try to get some people to come over. I don't expect a whole lot, but it's always fun to see what we can get, out there. I'm live right now. I have a new video premiering at 6 p.m. Come hang till then. Alright. And then, after that, I will put in the link. Give me the gosh dang. I'm having some trouble with. There you go. And post. Alright, guys. So I sent out a Facebook notification, Twitter notification. We'll see. I want to go back to this first song, man. That's that jam. Alright. So, let's get into it. So this ultramarine, like I was saying, I love this color blue. And as I was discussing this with Jeremy at the Interest of Stuff, I said, I love the aesthetic of Nightwave and Daywave and that Vaporwave aesthetic, but I feel like it's kind of overused. So I wanted to hit along the same feelings of that 90s fashion and patterns without beating that dead horse of the fluorescent pink and the blue. Not that I don't like it, like I said, but I feel like it's a bit overused right now in the art world. So I choose not to do that. I decided to go more with what my significant other said was the color palette of an 80s Taco Bell. So I did a little research on the interior of Taco Bells in the 80s and chose a color palette based on that. And I think it's pretty cool looking. We'll see how it turns out in final. As I go in with these color pencils, I'm going to be defining the shapes more. And also trying to sharpen up some of these parts that are a little less defined. So as I'm going along here, just trying to bridge the gap between the white paper that's still showing through and the blue ink from the marker. I don't expect it to be flawless, but I'm also want it to look finished. Like, if I don't go back in here and do this, I'm just gonna feel bothered by the background. So, and initially I wasn't going to. Initially I was telling my girlfriend, that fiance I guess, that I wanted to try to do as much of it in markers to make it as fast as possible. And as I was doing it, I realized, you know what, I just am not as clean with markers. And that's fine. A lot of color pencil artists will use markers as a base anyways. So that's effectively what I've decided to do. Not perfect, obviously, at it, but and as you can see, a little bit more pressure here. It does start to flatten that tooth out. Also just brings all these colors together, and as the waxes in the colored pencil are applied, as long as you aren't overdoing it, you can kind of move the colored pencil pigment around. Pretty cool. So yeah, I had my day job today. Worked my day job, and I love the job that I have. I won't go too much into that because I don't want to dox myself or anything. I mean, we already know where I'm located just based on my Twitter and stuff like that. But yeah, so I went into my job today and was talking to the manager there while I was about to depart, and he asked me if I'd come in on Saturday morning at 8 a.m. So my plans for staying up tonight and doing a late live stream are kind of squashed, and then unfortunately, I don't know really how to word that. Last I checked, the boys were not live over at Revenge of the Sis. They might be now. I'm checking that right now. It doesn't look like it. Looks like there's no episode today. I'm gonna check Twitter and see if Royce or Mersh have posted anything about having their show. I considered putting it in the background, but I'm not trying to. Yeah, the boys just tweeted out, "Sorry guys, vacation started a little early today. Nightwave will still be on at 10 p.m." So I'm going to go ahead and retweet. I'm live right now. I have my ROTC fan art preview at 6 p.m. If anyone wants to chill, have a great weekend. And see, now that they've tweeted that out, I don't feel so bad about it. I know that they're not live. I'm not interfering. And we can do this, guys. I have nobody in the stream, which is fine. But I'm going to continue. So, yeah, this is for the Interest of Stuff podcast. I'm pretty sorry about that, sharpening this pencil. Pretty excited about the work that's going on here. Like I said, I wanted to do it in markers and make it fast, but markers don't look as refined and as finished as I would like them to. So I just decided to grab up some colored pencils. Daryl, I do have a D-Live channel, but I don't know how. I've not set all that up now. I'm just now getting into the whole streaming thing. It is pretty sure it's CHC Art on there. Feel free to subscribe if you'd like to. What's up, Taylor? Awesome. Yeah, so I got out of my day job today and was kind of bothered by my boss as he had decided at the last minute to ask if I could come in a couple hours early tomorrow morning. And I'm completely willing to volunteer to come in when there is a need. But my plan tonight was to stay up and live stream late into the night. But now I have to get up and be at work at 8 in the morning, so I decided I would jump on and stream right now. And since the boys aren't live, it kind of was fortunate it worked out for me. Jeremy from Interest of Stuff and I have been doing some correspondence back and forth over the last week, and as I watch his show, we've been communicating about this piece. I didn't want to lean too heavily on the vaporwave aesthetic that we see in nightwave and daywave and all over the place. So I was talking to my girlfriend and fiance about what I should do and how to make this feel 90s and whatever, and she actually suggested going and looking at pictures of old Taco Bells in the 80s, and a lot of these colors came from, well, thank you, Daryl. Another follower is always appreciated. In fact, I was trying to set up all of my alerts and such on Streamlabs, and I was going to use the goal bar for right now to just be a marker of my followers, but I'm figuring all that stuff out still. Like I said, I am relatively computer illiterate. I can do hardware and build a computer, but software stuff I am not great at. So it's got a little bit of a learning curve for me, but I'll figure it out in time. I'm not even sure if anybody can donate to my Streamlabs or anything like that. I did set up my donations, and I set up the tip jar and all these sorts of things, but all I could see on mine is the actual jar and the notifications. I don't know what you guys can see, but yeah, I like the Taco Bell aesthetic. I think the color palette is fitting for what we're looking for here too. Like, I get that there's an aesthetic that is going around with the pinks and the blues and that whole deal, but this green, it pops out. This is actually after I've laid these two colored pencils on top of that green. It'll look more like this, but I think that green looks so good on this blue background, and she is very smart at picking out aesthetic things like that. I went through, and I imagine, as many of you know, if you've been involved with the Interest of Stuff channel, I went in and did... I hear you, Taylor. So Taylor has a great channel that's up and coming too. He does photography and music stuff, just starting out, but he's also involved in university right now, so give him a break. This is a video podcast that I listen to, and the host of the show hit me up about doing this piece for him because he saw the drawing that I had done for The Revenge of the Cis Guys, which is the video that's premiering after this at 6 o'clock. Please feel free to come and watch that video and hang out in the chat, whatever. We can make fun of Mersh's lazy eye. I was drawing The Revenge of the Cis Guys one day in my living room while I was listening to an episode, and these are some of the lolcows that they talk about. And I did this drawing of them that the video is about, And he hit me up and said, "Hey, I really like what you've done for these guys. It looks awesome." Reached out. "I want to do something caricature," he said. I didn't know exactly how caricature he wanted to go. So I gave him a couple sheets of different faces. Um, and then while they were voting on this in the actual podcast, I went ahead and worked out some interest of stuffed logos based on 90s themes, Rocco's Modern Life, the Ninja Turtles, Double Dare, Fresh Prince, and Baywatch. Um, but he was really impressed with the Rocco's Modern Lifestyle. And I was working on this as a more finished render of what kind of shading and stuff I'm going to do. And as you can see, I've laid it out here. I've been working on that. So that gets us all up to date with how we got into this. I'm really excited about where my art career is going. I have been drawing my entire life and really never took it super serious as a career possibility. And while I was working at my previous job, somebody who was there mentioned that they would pay me quite a bit of money for my artwork, and it changed my mind about how I felt about my artwork. Give me a second as I sharpen this pencil. I don't want to blow anybody's ears out. So yeah, I started to look at what I had always done in my private life and journaling, I guess, because that's really what my sketchbooks were just kind of like journals for me. And I realized, like, maybe I should show them to people. And I started showing it to people, and the response was astounding. Quite frankly, it caught me off guard. And it's been an uphill climb since then, but it is amazing the kind of support and love and outreach that people have been giving to me from the communities that I'm already kind of involved in. I know a lot of people hate using the term community, but you know, it has been an amazing rousing of support from the people who are close to me, which most of them have kind of always been the support of my art anyways. They all wanted me to work in the arts even when I didn't necessarily want to work in the arts. So, you know, not much to say for that. They always saw it. I didn't always see it. Quite frankly, I was embarrassed by a lot of my artwork, and I had been criticized at times, not necessarily about the type of artwork I make. That's pretty universally, people enjoy it universally, but in general, it was my emotional state. I felt very vulnerable showing the things that I draw. And if people did give it criticism, it felt so personal to me. And I just wasn't ready for that at that age. I still was a bleeding heart lefty tree hugger who was just looking for acceptance instead of taking the reins of my own life and choosing my path. You know, you can sit around and play the I want to game forever, but time doesn't last forever. So, you know, eventually you may have to face some hard realities of life, and you should. I mean, quite frankly, that's how we grow, is facing hard realities. And jumping into this and putting myself out there was that kind of a challenge. I was opening myself up to the internet criticism, which is already, let's be honest, we all know how the internet works. Luckily, I am confident in my actual skill level and in who I am as a person. So, you know, people talk a lot of trash, but you can just ignore that and keep moving on, especially if you have actual confidence in what you're trying to achieve and you're doing the work that it takes to lay those foundations. Then who can tell you what you can and can't do? And I used, you know, my best judgment. I try to use my best judgment in deciding what I put out, what I don't, how far I go with social media, just because it's a hairy place these days. You can get stuff dug up from 20 years ago to try to take your channel down, and it's ridiculous to me. You know, I don't understand why people are so threatened by words, but as someone who draws, uh, I recognize that it is a form of communication as well. And, if you can get canceled for saying something that's a matter of opinion, bruh, you gotta be careful with what you draw. There are some things that I have that maybe I'll have to share some way in a private chat or something. But I've even considered starting a clandestine art channel, maybe on DLive or something, where I draw things that are a little more violent or sexual or whatever. But I mean, I grew up in the generation of, reading Jim Lee comics and playing video games with Laura Croft, and I grew up drawing comic book characters and video game characters, and they were what interested me. The thing is that when you get into the art world, you can't exactly go around just drawing, Scorpion ripping off somebody's head. Although that would be awesome, you might run into some legal battles with companies that own rights to characters and stuff. So at some point you have to learn how to bring what it is that you love about drawing forward, even though the subject matter is not going to be necessarily what you were interested in when you first started drawing. I had to learn to draw cups and plates and cars and houses, and quite frankly, I still find myself riding around and seeing things and going, wow, I wonder if I could draw that, how's that, how would that be constructed? And I think if you have that kind of thought process in your mind, if you're hearing music and going, how can I play that? If you're seeing a movie and how can I film that way or produce that way or how can I do that, then chances are you're awake. I don't mean woke, but awake. You're at least awake enough to go, okay, I can see that what I'm doing isn't working, and I can see people who are successful at the thing I'm trying to do, and you're able to do the math on that and find out where you could improve and do better. And that's, quite frankly, my goal in life. Taylor, I'm always open to having new music on the channel, just letting you know. And you can shred, bro. Actually, when I was putting together the video in my channels, there's a video called Drawing Women 2009, I think is what it is. It's a flashback of some old footage I did back in 2009. When I was choosing the music for that video, Taylor, I literally was thinking of you. Like, it sounds like some Blink-182 pop punk stuff that just reminded me of you highly. I'm always open, and like I said, I'm all about cross promotion too. I know you got a lot on your plate with school and everything else going on. I don't know how all that's going on with all this coof. I'll text you or something later and we can chat. We should hang out soon. Yeah. As you can see, there's a little discoloration around this where I had the marker overlaying a couple of times. Oh, you're working on a new beat right now? Oh, you're doing online classes. That makes total sense, bro. Of course. I know they're talking about opening up the city and county schools, or they were supposed to vote on it today or something. I don't know. I don't know how that's affecting university and college and whatnot. Oh, that's awesome. That's not going to hold you back. He said that's his stuff hasn't been interrupted. I imagine y'all can read the live stream. There's only 5 of you in there. But, yeah, his classes haven't been interrupted at all. That's pretty awesome. We've actually been pretty fortunate here in North Carolina to not have to deal with a lot of the stuff that other places have been dealing with in this. Don't get me wrong. I have to wear a mask in, stores and things like that. But quite frankly, where I'm living at, it seems like most people are just kind of doing what they want to do anyways. But I have been blessed to be able to work through most of this. I mean, I did get a cutback in my hours, like I said. And it's given me, fortunately, a lot of time to work on my craft, Once I get this blue, and quite frankly, I want to hit all these things that are on the edge of this here. Once I get that all blue and pink and green and all that, I want to take this painter's frog tape and tape this down so I'm not doing the Ouija board planchette all night, because that could definitely suck too if you're watching it, especially when I try to edit a video together where something's been floating around like that. Man, it makes the editing so much more difficult, because you have to kind of isolate what it is that you're looking on and make all the minute movements to keep it center frame. Anyone who's edited videos probably has an idea of what I'm talking about there. I want to be able to produce the quality content that I feel I'm worthy of, and that's going to take some work. I'm new to this game, but if you guys will be patient, I promise you this will be at least worth the fun. I know some of y'all probably could care less about drawing or painting or anything like that, and that's fine. And I appreciate the support one way or the other in any way. Don't forget, you guys can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, of course, YouTube. I also have a DeviantArt page, but I have not been on that in a hot minute. But that is also where you can see some of the more censored artworks that I'm not showing on YouTube is on my DeviantArt. They're not all under the same name, but I guarantee you look up CHC or Charles Hancock, even Charles Hancock Creations, that'll narrow you down, because at one time they were all kind of named the same thing. But my branding got subverted by some other artists who actually have my name. There's a famous equestrian artist whose name is Charles Hancock too, and I can't draw horses for shit, but he certainly can. So when I say Charles Hancock artist, I know that there are chances that somebody might go, I've seen some of your artwork before. Now, you probably haven't. You've seen a famous guy's artwork before. Yeah, just get this base layer in. Prismacolor is a trusted name in color pencils, but as the years have gone on, I appreciate that. I think my work is pretty good. Like we were saying in the other stream the other day, Jeremy, like some of my stuff is, I guess I think it's pretty freaking good, but I understand that like not everybody has the same interest in the same stuff. And I draw a lot of like horror and bizarre, surreal stuff. I've been working on a drawing for a couple of months now. I guess I say working on it. I started it a couple months ago, and it is very surreal and kind of based on a dream that I had mixed with some traditional Native American mythology. If you give me just a second, I'll see if I can find it. I'm not sure where I put it at. I thought it would have been closer, but it's not. Heck, I don't even know what I did with the ROTC drawing right now. Things are kind of a mess in my studio right now, guys. I have no idea what this royalty-free music that I'm stealing from YouTube's attribution not required is, but some of this is just terrible. Let's get a little more ravey here. Dance electronic. All right. Yeah, so as you can see, I've already almost traversed the entire background with this ultramarine uh, pencil here. And really, that's all I want to do. Of course, I'll make minute changes as time goes on to better tie everything together and make the transition from piece or from part of the piece to other parts of the piece all being, at least somewhat cohesive. But you can really tell if I bring this up here where the marker lines are. And I'm trying to avoid having all those visual marker lines. That's really what this is. Pencil layer is all about, is just trying to get rid of those marker lines. Making it as cohesive and blended as possible. My dad wasn't artistic at all. He was a welder, and he liked doing mechanical stuff on cars and plumbing and construction, which I have a lot of that inside of me as well. One of the things I also like to do is I've been trying to learn to wood carve. And I like to do DIY stuff around my house. My fiance and I right now are trying to redo a dresser. So that's something we have going on in the other room. But drawing has always been my go-to. It's always felt like where I'm supposed to be, and I'm about that. I am about that. All right, let's get these yellows in here. I'm going to go ahead and put some, pressure. Let's bring out the bad boy. Let's see if we can get up some of that color. Maybe not. I did push on it a little bit. Ooh, hardcore. Give a little bit of pressure on top of that. Maybe we can kind of hide some of that mistake there. Now you're always going to see it, Jeremy. Always remember that's where I made that mistake. That's how an artist mind works. Anything I think is a mistake, it's like it buries itself into my consciousness, and I'm afraid everybody's going to see my mistake. But the fact is most people don't really. I mean, what's a mistake? Yeah. Go in here. I'm going to hit it with that bright yellow again. Yeah, that's really popping those yellow squares right out. Now I'm going to move over here to a canary yellow, or lemon yellow. And I'm going to lay lemon yellow on top of these. Look, pencil, I will throw you. All right. This lemon yellow I'm going to lay down on top of the triangles. I'm going to hit these triangles and try to move up any underlying pencil that's still residual. I can see some of it. That's one of the hardest things, I think, for people who want to be involved in artwork and drawing is it takes a lot of patience and a lot of correction. And some people just don't want to do that. It's a lot of work. I mean, that ROTC piece that I did that's premiering at 6 o'clock took me about a full 40-hour work week. I mean, in reality, that's how long it took. It was 37 hours is how long it took me to do it. And I'm not, expecting any sort of praise or anything for that. That's not my point in saying that, just to say that, color pencils specifically are also a very tedious and time-consuming medium. It wasn't even necessarily like I chose color pencils. Color pencils kind of chose me. That's some gangster shit. Yeah, I mean, had I decided, had I made a stronger decision on whether or not I would be a color pencil artist or a acrylic painter or a sculptor or whatever, I don't know that I would have chosen colored pencils. It's one of those things where it's affordable relatively, especially Prismacolors. Like, these are still more expensive than most people would expect. An individual color pencil costing almost $3 a piece, but they're Caran d'Ache luminances that are almost $10 a piece. And when you start doing a drawing with expensive materials and you tell your client, I'm going to charge you at least for the materials cost, I think a lot of people think that that's just going to be, the cheaper route. And it's often not the cheaper route. I mean, I have spent money on pencils that most people would find ridiculous to spend on pencils. But it's just like any other tool. I imagine Taylor could tell you certain guitars provide certain, benefits over other guitars. And in the same way, a DeWalt drill and a drill from Craftsman are probably not going to work exactly the same either. So just, you get the idea. It all depends on what you want. Maybe you don't want a WRX because you got, a family of 3, and why have some STI, rally car when I have a family? But if you are looking to do that, that is exactly the car you want. So I always have to choose my materials with the understanding of what I'm trying to get accomplished, I guess is my point. Mm-hmm. This is just pretty sure this is, yeah, this is just pink, just basic pink. But I think this pink, orange, blue combo is just primo, one of my favorites. So this actually, this peach tone here, it's actually, excuse me, coronavirus, is actually called Cosmos. I don't know why it's called Cosmos, but it's almost a pink color, but I keep getting this feeling of like a muted peach. Yeah. See anything that fits it a little better. Ooh, what is this? This is blush pink, and I think that might be our winner right there. That's just another rose. How much of a pencil will I use when I ditch it? Okay. Easy question for me to show you. This is what they call a pencil extender. Right now, what I have in the back of this is actually... So this is a piece of wax. Effectively what this is this is the binder that's inside of a color pencil. And this right here is just so if I wanted to go on top of this, I could actually just use the pressure in the binder without actually having to add more color. But these things right here, you can take and, I mean, you're using this much pencil inside of it. So yeah, I pretty much use it all the way down to the bottom because they're so expensive. I mean, that's with any art supply, I will not pick. I didn't even know that existed. Fair. I didn't know what they were. My grandmother is kind of artistic, and she had them around the house, and I always thought they were cigarette extenders, and I would walk around like Corella DeVille from 101 Dalmatians. Shmee, shmee. But now that I understand what it is a tool that I could not actually do this without. I mean, I have tons of art supplies, guys. Like, I could do ink if I wanted to. I could do color pencil if I wanted to. I mean, where I'm sitting right now, I can see watercolors, alcohol markers. I have an entire set of. Sorry, get to see that beautiful angle of me. Oh, I can't even pick those up. I have a set of probably like 50 gel pens. Gel pens are not good art supplies. They're great for adding highlights and stuff like that. I don't know why in the world I decided to get 50 different colored. Yeah, it's horrible. It was a bad decision. That's kind of that I don't want to call it OCD. It's not OCD. But there's something about artists. Maybe it's just people in general. Why am I trying to be so freaking. Look, if you've ever walked into any sort of store and thought to yourself, man, I wish I had more money. That's the way an art store feels to me. I get so frustrated at the people at the art store because they're like, did you find everything okay? Yeah, I found everything. I just can't leave with everything I want. I'm not a bazillionaire. Dude, there's some pads of paper that I would like to have that are just absurd. But God willing and the creek don't rise, I feel like the Lord will provide at some point for me. If I'm meant to use it, it'll come into my path. So I try not to think about those kind of things from that perspective because I truly am happy with my life and I feel like I've been blessed with everything that I have. You know, an angle tool set up for drywall. Yeah, man. Tools can get stupid expensive. Oh, the basement thing, man. So you want to go back to 2000 and gosh, maybe 2007. I had just moved back from California back to the East Coast, and I was living in Richmond, Virginia. And I decided one night in a stupor to order a gazelle. Anybody remember what the gazelle was? Jesus. It was this guy, Tony something. If my fiance were here, she could tell you. She remembers this dude's name. But the gazelle was this like exercise bike thing that you put your feet in and you. That thing was the balls for about 3 days. And then I was supposed to return it after 90 and I kind of forgot. Tony Little. Thank you, baby. Tony Little. That's right. Yeah. Day 93, I woke up and went, oh, I've made a mistake. I've made a mistake. I now am the proud owner of a gazelle. I'm a proud owner of a gazelle. And I ended up selling it for other reasons, and we can talk about that at some time as well, but I've definitely spent some money on some things that just ended up sitting around. What are they? I remember hearing somebody say that exercise equipment shouldn't be sold as exercise equipment. It should be sold as eventually we'll be hanging my laundry on this equipment. Because let's be honest, most people who get a stationary bike or a treadmill or whatever just end up, hanging shit on it and letting it sit there. Where pencil am I? There I go. So this is still that blush pink that I'm using on these smaller circles. As you can tell, it's darkening them up a little bit. It's not an exact match to the marker tone underneath, but it is pretty spot on. And I can actually probably use it to lighten up some of this other pink that was used. Ooh, I don't know about lighten it, but it does differentiate the two, which I am all for. I encourage everyone, if you are interested in art, to check out my other videos. I don't really talk too much in my videos. That's a live stream thing. I do have two longer videos where I do some dialogue in them. One where I was going through an old sketchbook, and one where I was talking about the creation of a sketchbook. That's actually one of my first videos. Love that video, except for some reason the timing when I upload it to YouTube is all out of sync in the middle of it. So if that doesn't bother you too bad, you should give that a watch. Because as Taylor can tell you in the chat there, I have on numerous occasions encouraged people who aren't even necessarily into drawing to get a sketchbook. You'd be surprised how much fun it can be just to sit down and journal out your day. And instead of, today I went and I had breakfast and I went to work and blah, 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 and these rote responses as if someone in the future is going to sit down and read about your day-to-day life. That kind of stuff just doesn't make sense. But if you sit down and you draw some of the things you saw during your day, whether it was a coffee cup or a little kid crying in the mall, and you kind of just put those all on a page, that works just like a journal. It speaks, at least to me, it speaks to me. I haven't done that in quite some time. I don't want to be too soy boy on you guys, but, there was a time in my life where I was going through some struggles, and journaling was one of the simplest and easiest ways to treat myself without going down a road that I've tried to avoid numerous times in my life. Drawing has always been that companion, that safe companion. It doesn't talk back. It doesn't yell. It's just there. Yeah. These colors are starting to look good. It's got a good color pop, good color range. I like the way it's coming out. And I'll be honest, man, I am not always confident in what I take on. I'm willing to rise to the challenge, whatever that might be in my life. With art, particularly, I'm not a caricature artist. I've never worked at a gosh dang Six Flags or anything like that. I don't know anything about caricature, but I get the idea of drawing. I get the idea of understanding how faces are constructed, how body parts move, and as long as I can figure out the algorithm of how to make something a effective piece, then I can do anything, I'm pretty sure. Right now I'm trying to learn how to do digital artwork as well. I've been researching that. I don't know, there's a lot of things going on in the old art plans, but Tony's look. Thank you, baby. I remember his hair on that gazelle. Jesus. Horrible. Alright. So, inside these triangles right here, I have a real light blue, a fake blue. I believe I used a pastel blue maybe, or maybe a mint colored marker for the texture inside of this and this. And I'm going to attempt to get in there and do a little detail on this. So what I might do here, if you'll hold on to your eyes for a second, I don't want to make anybody sick, we're going to bring this on down. There we go. I got cables hanging everywhere. It's like being in the dang jungle. Alright. Get this down all close. Alright. Alright. Get down here close on it. And now let's find a color. Alright, so these are greens, browns, blues. And see, I'm just going to use my eyesight here to kind of figure out which colors can be mixed together to give me a similar tone. And I think these might be my winners here, which is fortunate because one of them was already one of the green colors I was using. So, let's go in here and make some rando lines. See, and I think I can. I think I will be able to add a layer on top of this. I'm not pushing very hard, again, using the pressure of the pencil, the natural pressure of just laying on it to make these lighter marks. But the cool thing about this, like I was saying earlier, is that the more wax pigment I put down here, the more I can kind of use it like magic. Let me make this point a little sharper. Alright. Make this point a little sharper. I can get in here and move some of that pigment around. You see this lead keeps breaking. A couple of years ago, Prismacolor moved some of their factories to Mexico. I have no problem with Mexico in and of itself. But these leads just fall apart on you now. They just break. They will crumble underneath the weight of your hand. So some of these lines, initially, the lead's just snapping. But once I get it to a pretty firm spot here, I can use that little piece and get in here and do fine details. If you ever see artists online, Instagram, whatever, that do high resolution accuracy art, always buyer beware. There are lots of programs these days, especially in Photoshop and elsewhere, where people can take and have sat down and drawn it. And I was watching a video about this not long ago because I found myself in a position where I was comparing myself to other artists on Instagram. I'm not one to necessarily worry about the, fear of missing out of FOMO, or like that I need to be as popular as somebody else. But I do see my abilities and my techniques and try to compare to people of a similar style and a similar experience level. And by doing that, I started to really kind of get beat up because people who were drawing similar stuff to me are getting 300,000 likes, 100,000 likes, and I realized this was the beginning of me doing this, and my social media presence has grown and grown. I try to update things on the regular, at least send a picture or a message or ask a question through Twitter, whether it is art-based or, peripherally art-based. You know, try to make my social media engaging. Right. This pencil right here is a sap green light. So I'm using sap green light and a spring green. As you can tell, this is split down the middle. This is also one of the problems that's been happening with Prismacolors since they went to Mexico, is the barrel will split open like this. And anybody who uses a tool on the regular, who then starts to see those kinds of mistakes and those kinds of issues, unfortunate. So, on that second layer, I'm going to put a little more pressure, and as you can see, the green starts to look more like this. Starts to pop up. Boom, vivid. Yeah. Pretty cool. I have just the worst hands today. I don't know why. Dude, social media is difficult. It's one of those things too where I try to post out to every site at the same time in order to make it easier for myself, but it never really is. It seems like it will be easier if I just go ahead and make a post and then move it, copy and paste, but quite frankly, like, not all the algorithms are the same, and not all the things that they look for are the same. If I put hashtags in a post on Instagram and then I just share it to my Facebook, you just looked up Tony Littletail. That hair, phenomenal. You remember my hair? I miss my hair. Where was I? Oh, social media. Yeah, the social media game is a very difficult game to figure out. And they try to get you to spend money on advertising and boosting a post. And I boosted a couple posts here and there trying to gather some, following in the early days of me being on at least Facebook. I was boosting posts from time to time. But my Facebook is also, quite frankly, where I have the largest following. I mean, most of those people are personal friends and people I've met over the years. I used to call that page something different. And a lot of people subscribed to it back in the day when it was just like my drawing page. But my analytics look like people are going more and more. I even try to share like comedic art memes and stuff like that on my Facebook group, just because not every day do I have something to post that I feel like is pertinent or that people will care about. So it's easier sometimes just to go to one of the classical art meme groups that I'm in, or save funny art memes that I see throughout the week and just turn those into posts later on. It's not easy to garner a following on certain social media platforms. It seems like if you weren't in the game early, then good luck. From what I've even heard, like, some of the algorithm changes and stuff like that have just made it all the more difficult for newer people, older, people who've been making YouTube content for years, your PewDiePies and H3H3s and all those kind of people. They are operating on a totally different platform, basically. I hate calling YouTube a platform because, as far as I'm concerned, they're a publisher, but I get that, like, my channel, I do art stuff. I'm not going to suffer the same slings and arrows that, well, even Jeremy or the RTC guys or Simper. Like, I'm not necessarily putting myself in the same place that you guys are, and I respect the hell out of what you do. I am totally down for speaking my mind. Uh, I have no problem with that. I just, you know, at one time I thought about doing a conspiracy theory podcast with a friend of mine. I thought about doing one about baseball with my brother-in-law. So I've always been interested in the idea of being involved in media and alternative media, and drawing was that thing, I guess. All right. This is that pink. Oh, it is just gorgeous. So the thing with these Prismacolors, anyone who might have an interest in actual art supplies and whatnot, these are called oil-based, or these are wax-based color pencils, which means that they're mushy. You can actually put some pressure under this pencil here and give it some pushing, and the color will actually just keep coming and keep coming and keep coming until there's no tooth left in the paper to lift it up. But the thing is, because it's so soft, you can keep pushing and it's not actually damaging the teeth as much, if that makes sense. Now, if I were to use, let's see, here are some Prismacolor, these are Faber-Castell Polychromos, and these are Soho Urban Artists. These come from Jerry's Artorama. These are Faber-Castell from Germany. These are a little more expensive, these Faber-Castells, than the normal Prismacolors that I use. These are oil-based, and it's basically the same binders that are in the Prismacolor that are also in this Faber-Castell. The difference is that it's different amounts of the material. So these Faber-Castell pencils tend to be firmer and stronger. But with that, you might get better color, but it's definitely pushing in the indent on the paper. Like, Polychromos are really good for fine details and small things, because you can make this point and then get in there and do fine details. Where if I try to do it with this Prismacolor, it would probably just start falling apart. So that's basically the difference in your color pencils. Every brand has a different makeup or process of making their pencils. Some of them are hexagonal, some of them are round, but they all do the same thing. My fiance made sure to point out when I first started hanging out with her that, like, she saw that I had this belief in myself that if I had better materials, that my art would be better. And she called me out on that and was like, come on, man, how could you say that? And there's probably a little part of me that was a little infuriated, because I'm the one who has the experience with these things. But she was right. In a lot of ways, I had put down certain art supplies because they just didn't give me the results that I wanted, not realizing that, to somebody else, these things are maybe the best they have, maybe the best that they're capable of getting. My heart would never want to offend anybody or push them away from artwork. And I saw a video this week from another YouTuber who I enjoy her videos. She's British, so if that bothers you, a lot of people don't like accents. Christy Partridge, she's a color pencil artist on YouTube, and she actually did a video this week about art supplies and whether or not expensive art supplies mattered. And she showed a picture of an owl that she made that was amazing. And it was done with Crayola pencils. And it kind of dumbfounded me that she did it with colored pencils. Now, she did use some other techniques that you wouldn't typically use if you weren't familiar with them, using Gamsol, which is a paint thinner. If I'm doing hair on a character or something like that, I might grab this Gamsol here and use a paintbrush to kind of break up the pigments in the color pencil, thus feathering it out and allowing me to go over top of it with another medium or, things like that. So I'm not going to be using any of that in this because this is going to be more raw, I guess, than that, which I'm about. I'm all about raw. Most of my videos are time lapses with music, so if you enjoy just the creation aspect of watching someone create art and you're not interested in my commentary or you think I'm an asshole, feel free to just watch the videos. Oh, I hear you, Taylor. I just saw your comment there about amazing art being made out of the stupidest mediums. No doubt, man. No doubt there's been amazing works of art done out of things I wouldn't even know how to work with. We were watching something recently here at the house, I guess a couple months ago, about this guy who uses trash to make portraits of people. And my freaking brain is still melting just thinking about it. Like, I'm talking about like using little green army men and trash bags and yeah, exactly. It is freaking amazing the kind of stuff that this guy uses to make these portraits. And when you're standing back from them at 25, 30 feet, it looks like a person. It looks like a damn portrait. I don't understand. I mean, I get the concept, but the amount of patience that one must have, the amount of forethought and planning is overwhelming to me. It's outstanding the kind of work these people do. We even saw one guy, or maybe it was a girl, who took safety glass and would actually take like a hammer and tap it and like would make amazing pictures out of cracked safety glass. It's amazing, man. I enjoy the idea of making all those things. And again, like I was saying, I know this sounds super freaking condescending to some people, but I have no doubt in my mind that if there's something like that I wanted to attempt, it might not come out great the first time, but I'm going to figure out how to do it. When it comes to creative endeavors, when it comes to drawing and things like that, I will learn it. I will make myself learn it if I want to learn it. The problem is that there is a way to translate that to other disciplines in your life, and I'm not the greatest at doing that. You know, I overeat, I smoke, I imbibe in recreational fun from time to time, and those kind of things, they have a place. I'm not going to get into all that. I don't want to be giving out any advice that's going to blow back on me or anything, but sometimes you just need to look at something from a different perspective in order to see it. And I know that like lateral learning is a thing, man. I have definitely understood lateral learning. I can see how years of playing football and baseball have affected the way that, I just move around. At times, you ever drop something and catch something, and you're like, man, I should have had no business catching that. I wasn't even looking in the right direction. Yeah, that happens from time to time, and always feels great when it happens. I'm like, yes, man, still got them hands, still got them hands. My dad would be proud. Lateral learning is a thing, though. All right, well, as we're coming up here on 5:40, guys, my video does debut at 6 o'clock here on YouTube. I look like I'm getting a bit of this background done. I should be able to start taping up the sides tonight and working on it throughout this weekend. And hopefully, Jeremy, I'll be able to get something to you sooner than later, man. I'd love to, jump on the show and, we could talk or whatever. I probably won't be able to stay on for the whole stream. Chances are I'm going to need to jump into another piece that I'm working on. But I would love to do that kind of stuff. I'm going to just work on this last bit of this while we let this last couple minutes go. If you guys would like the video, please make sure to like, comment down beneath anything you would like to hear, anything you'd like to see me draw possibly. Make sure to subscribe as well, help me get monetization, help me so I don't have to work for the man. I can be my own kind of man. Check out my Twitter, it's C Hancock Art. My Facebook, which is Charles Hancock Creations. My Instagram, which is The Charles Hancock Art. And hopefully I will see you guys in the next live stream. If not, I will catch up with most of you guys in either Daywave, Nightwave, ROTC, Interest of Stuff, JJ Stoner, AG Luck, Adonis Paul. I'll catch up with some of y'all later. Peace, love. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you later.